We have a saying around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no brains, no headache.
Well, hello, boys.
What's up? What's up?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
We're back with episode 158 of No Brains, No Headache podcast. My name's Jordan Weichel. I'll be your host as always. I'm with my co-host here, Matt Cleary. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. I texted you beforehand. I said I'm excited to record. We got a lot to go over. So let's just hop into comedy night, huh?
Yeah, it's really nice when we don't see each other for a couple days.
Yeah.
Very refreshing. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That seriously, I get tired of you.
It's bad. It's like, you want to meet tomorrow? Absolutely not. Good.
Do you want to record today or tomorrow? You know what? I was thinking we just scratch the whole thing altogether. Matter of fact, you already took half the equipment down to the old pawn shop.
If you want it back, you can just head on down there.
They'd love your business.
They would. They would.
But yeah, we're coming off of Comedy Night 4, No Brains, No Headache, Comedy Night 4. As you may have figured out, Matt and I do stand-up comedy every once in a while. And what better way to get in the spotlight, start stand-up comedy, do something unique in the fine community of Bismarck-Mandan than to put on your own show. So that's exactly what we do with No Brains, No Headache Comedy Night 4. We switched up venues this time. Usually do it at a tiki bar that we are affiliated with. Okie dokie. Getting a phone call right now, and couldn't have called at a worse time. We are, let's see here. We're not even 2 minutes into recording.
Perfect.
That's usually how it goes. I didn't get to receive a phone call all day from anybody. And yeah, the moment I'd set aside some time. Anyway.
Anywho.
Comedy Night 4, we switched venues. We went over to a theater, actually. Which was a bit more professional. There was a stage, spotlight. We had a projector screen. We didn't have to run the sound, which is always great for our listeners' ears when we don't have to run the sound. And we also had a few comedians, Matt, myself, obviously, and then a couple guys from Fargo, Blaze Kautzman, David Standall. They came downtown and they had a good time with us. So, Matt, what are your initial thoughts?
The stage was awesome. It felt like it was super cool because we had a green room. We were chilling down there. You could hear the show down there. So you'd be like, oh, I got to get going here soon. So it'd be like, oh, I'll head up there. And Brando did his job. He hosted the show again for us graciously. And yeah, it was so fun. It was biggest and best comedy show I think we put on yet. For sure.
By far. We had a few other things in prior shows work differently for us, but this one was a traditional show in the sense of you got to get your ticket, you come in, 4 total comedians throughout the night. We even gave them a little bit of an intermission. We've been known to attract a heavy drinking crowd, which is not very shocking at all, and had a great time, like you said, hanging out in the green room. Before, our green room experience was essentially a janitor's closet. And then the Fargo guys were even talking about their usual green room situation, which actually sounds worse than the janitor closet.
Oh, yeah, by far.
And then we had a legit green room with, couches, mirrors, a fridge down there, which I don't think we actually turned on. I think our beers got warmer throughout the night, but beside the point, hey, we're going to learn. We're going to turn on, next time we're going to turn on the fridge. I'm going to go there a day ahead of time, make sure it's cold.
I mean, well, to start it off, we were like so busy like getting stuff. I'm like, I'll get pizza. We like get there and we're like, I think we got everything. You're like, I forgot the beer. And you made a call. Alejandro brought it up. It was like, oh, it's like we're doing so much that it's like the one thing we need.
I forgot the beer. Out of sight, out of mind. I put it in the fridge to keep it cold. Thank the Lord, because the fridge in the green room wasn't working.
The fridge in the green room was essentially a hot box.
Yeah, but the green room, like I was saying, and I kept saying it throughout the night. At one point, I even felt like a drunk teenager who like just is getting drunk on the first night of their lives during like prom. There's, I love you guys. I love you guys. I kept being like, dude, this green room is awesome. It's sick. And I was like, this is the best part. It's just hanging out before the show or even during the show, because obviously there's only really one person on stage at a time. Just hanging out, BSing with the boys, and that was my favorite part. Obviously, I enjoy getting on stage, so I've rounded out the night. Our buddy Blaze got started. Matt followed him up. Brief intermission. Then we had Dave go on stage, who's really funny. Everybody's really funny, but Dave, I like his humor a lot, and then I finished out the night. And I'm happy to report, I think I only missed one teeny tiny little line out of all of my jokes, because you never really know how it's going to go when you memorize 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how long your set is. You don't really know how it's going to go. You can try to open mic all you want. I actually bombed at an open mic the Monday prior. I don't know if you remember that, Matt.
I mean, I've bombed at that open mic as well, so welcome to the club.
It wasn't looking too great at the start of the week, but I remembered all my jokes. I'm pretty sure I wasn't getting phantom laughs, and that was the biggest part. And you just go from like practicing in front of a fucking wall to an actual audience that holds hundreds of people, if completely full.
Yeah, it was such like a cool, like the theatrics of it to be like spotlight down. You really couldn't see like more than like 4 or 5 rows.
If anything, it was more the projector light in our face, but we did have the lighting ability to turn the congregation's lights all the way down and really focus on the stage. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and cool meeting Dave and Blaze. Those guys were so funny, just like shooting the shit in the green room. Like, we had our private bathroom, and I'm like, I'm like, Dave, did you smoke in the bathroom? He's like, no. Yes.
That's a true green room. You got to break it in however you want. I mean, if you're the talent at a show, I would say everything's fair game in the green room.
Yeah, I mean, and it got a little weird there for a second. I was sweating profusely, and I had to, like, literally minutes before I went on stage, I literally changed shirts because I knew that it just wasn't going to be a good look up there. Lefty was out and about.
Yeah, Matt's left armpit. Probably going to set up a GoFundMe for the Botox procedure any day now, once we find the time. But it was really interesting meeting those guys and everything going on. Shotgun to beer, which was really nice.
Oh, yeah. And the beer was good shotgunning temperature because the fridge didn't work.
That was still early in the night. So it was slightly chilled, but not too cold, not too hot. You need a good temperature in the beer you're going to shotgun. It could throw everything off. Too cold, I mean, good luck.
Too warm.
Too warm, also good luck.
Yeah, tummy rumbles and not feeling that great when it goes down.
Got the tum-tum rums, but yeah, I feel really good about the night. It was a very successful night all around. I think we only maybe had 1 or 2 microphone mishaps, but besides that, hey, the hometown guys got through their set.
Yep.
Who says I didn't purposely fuck up the microphones for those guys?
I don't know. Good joke. By the way, he really knocked
Totally got that asshole.
Yeah. Well, when we went in there right away and we were like doing a sound check. She's like, okay, I'm going to turn on the mics, and turned it on. It was like, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
It's always daunting when you do that, but interesting all around. And then we had to party with our guests who are in town, and Matt joined us for a while, but he had to be on his best behavior, rightfully so. We might get into that in a minute here. But then I'm like, all right, guys, like, I was like, by the way, like, when I say bar tab, I mean I got your bar tab, like, not just at the show, because at the show they could really have, free, have at it with the beers, or go up to the bar and grab whatever they like, free of charge. I was like, I got you the rest of the night. And it was a Thursday evening. We do that strategically in the summertime, and Thursdays seem to be our thing. May switch it up in the future, we'll see. And I'm like, these guys wanted a bar hop in Mandan, North Dakota. I made a joke about how all these fucking bars reek like sewage, but it's true. Like, nobody laughed at that one because it was true. They're like, yeah, that's a really good point, Jordan. And
just taking notes.
We bar hopped, not including the stop we made right away after the show where you were still with us. We bar hopped to 3 different bars in Mandan, North Dakota. For some reason, but they wanted to go around. I said, "Hey, you know what? You're my guest. I'm a good host, okay? Generous host. Whatever you want to do, let's go do it. Let's go have a good time. Bar hopped. But at every stop, we slammed down at least one cocktail and ordered a round of shots. And, of course, I was dressed up as Cowboy Gordon, so I probably looked like a real jackass just stumbling around. I sang Hard Working Man by Brooks and Dunn at not one, but two different karaoke's that night.
Twice in one night. Wow.
Yeah. I definitely got my stage time fixed for quite a while. Because you go, I mean, it's a true thing. We always talk about it all the time after our shows is you kind of ride this high of the show and you did really well. And it's like, it's a nerve-wracking experience, but you conquered it. And then you just kind of right into a little bit of a depression.
Okay. Let's party.
So we're not the only comics on the scene. I reached out to a friend who had a show the Friday night after, and I was like, hey, man, how'd your show go? Because I wasn't able to make it. And I got quite possibly the greatest text back of all time.
All right, we're all ears.
It was the roughest show I've ever had. I should have worked with my openers a lot more. Last time they did good enough, so I figured that would only improve. Wrong. The venue was super warm, so people were uncomfortable, and then the openers just bombed. And you know, Doug's whole thing is he's awkward and it's funny. Well, it turns out it's not funny when the previous two acts have completely eaten it. His magic was really good, of course, but he got screwed by the other two setting the stage poorly. By the time I got up there, it was hard to recover, and I had a rough set. I did only half the time I did last time, just to get people out of there. No one was having a great time.
I mean, that'll happen sometimes, I guess. You put yourself out there. You can't always guarantee a dynamite performance and, all the success, great success, woo that you could ever have. And, yeah, I thought that was hilarious when Matt shared that text with me because I was like, I was going to ask him. I still might just shoot him a text and see what kind of response I get. And I will laugh hard if she's like, "Oh yeah, it was really good, dude. Thanks for asking."
Dude, it was even better than last time. So yeah, we can get into some other things. Comedy night was a success.
Yeah, comedy night in comedy in North Dakota. It's just it's an interesting thing.
It's, catch the wave.
Yeah, the wave is here. We're doing the wave currently. Ride the wave.
Hooks up.
Wave pool.
Which is currently closed.
Green Wave, East Grand Forks.
Or Tulane.
So
after the show, that next Saturday I had to drive, or that Friday I had to drive to Minneapolis to go to a wedding. And here's a couple of my, the drive was absolutely miserable. Because, you got the adrenaline, you have a couple drinks. And then I wake up the next morning, and it was one of those, like, my alarm's going off, and you're like, it can't be time now. Like, no.
That wasn't enough time.
And so
time doesn't stop, dude.
And, of course, we get on the road, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. I drive basically as far as I can. I'm like, I'm going to fall asleep. So I'm like, I'm done driving. Switch drivers, make it there. All's good. And I'm like, okay. Go to the hotel, and I'm like, oh, let's get a lift to the show. Or someone gets an Uber. They're like, I got an Uber XL because there were 6 of us.
To the wedding?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I said show. Well, it was a little bit of a show. And they're like, yep, that's the Uber XL. And this tiny sedan shows up, and I was like, no chance. They're like, it's one of those that like has a sneaky third row seating, which is okay for like 2 6-year-olds to sit in the back. Not 3 grown men. So I'm crammed in there, and I'm short, and my knees hurt. And I'm like, okay. And trying to get out of this thing was like trying to give birth to yourself. Like, it was the Jim Carrey rhino scene from...
Did you get the seatbelt receiver up your cram hole?
No, my brother sat in the middle, which is the greatest part.
Did he get a seatbelt receiver up
I'm
the cram
assuming
hole?
it's still up there. And I get to the wedding, I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then... It was one of those weddings. Shout out DJ P-Rack. We went to the Cubs game with them.
That's not a disc jockey. That's just...
That's just my 6'5" lanky cousin.
DJ P-Rack.
And so like it was a sweet ceremony because it was like 10 minutes, and then they were like, all right, happy hour's over there. I'm like, sweet. And so free tap beer. So I just go up and I drink one, and then of course I start getting judged by one of the bartenders, like looks at my glass, he's like, is there a hole in there? And I was like, I'll just go to another bartender and tip them if you're gonna be a douche about it.
I never understood that. It's kind of like, when mama makes cookies and then you shove 7 in your face in a row and they're like, whoa, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought these were here to eat, not to fucking stare at.
And it's like, what do you want me to do? It's the beer's going to go to waste. If not, someone has to drink it. All fall on that grenade.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then so I have like during this little cocktail hour, I had about 7 beers.
Gator don't play no shit.
And I go and they have dinner. It was like the normal like chicken, mashed potatoes. How are you at weddings? Do you like you pick out your meal, or are you like a buffet style guy?
I mean, regardless of what your decision is, the food has to be like good. Like it's got to be edible, have some flavor to it. But I would probably choose pick what you want. Like usually it's like, what is it like?
Chicken, beef, or veggie?
Yeah, chicken, beef, or veggie or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you add the square that says kids chicken tender meal, and then check that one off.
And you have 2 meals, you're like chicken times 2.
Pretty much. That's what I would choose.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for me because I have for lack of a better word, portion control issues. So just having that one plate really tapers me off. I can't be trusted with a buffet.
Yeah, I feel like at the buffet at a wedding, though, the line might just be very far away from wherever you're seated, so that'll deter you. The line might just be too long. They may just be low on food. There's so many more factors that could play into it. Honestly, I'm thinking back on it, and I'm getting quite hungry, so we should wrap this up soon so I can go eat dinner. Best meal I ever had at a wedding was chicken cordon bleu.
Ooh.
Dude, it was amazing. But my other beef with my other beef with eating at weddings is usually, this is going to sound a little AA-ish, but usually so focused on the drinks that there's not much thought and consideration for the food.
Did they just come and put your plate down? You're like, what the hell's this?
Yeah, you're taking up too much space because what I've learned is that, at least at most weddings, is everyone's, they're in a really good mood. Unless you're me, the Scrooge of weddings as of late, love makes me sick. Anyway, people are really in a good mood all the time, and so they're always buying drinks, offering to go up. So like, you have yours. You get yourself a cocktail, you sit down, it's not quite time to eat. Your buddy gets up, hey, anybody need a drink? You're like, well, I'm not going to say no. They give you one. Then the option of, oh, this is complimentary wine or champagne. So then you have a flute or a wine glass of that drink. Then you can even throw in the free keg beer sometimes. Or it's like, oh, shit, where's the free keg at? I'm going to go grab one. You have 4 drinks in front of you at one time. How much space can your stomach really hold when you're focused on the liquid intake as opposed to the actual food?
You'll find out how much you can hold later when you're thrown up in the bushes.
Well, then on top, yeah, and then it's just like, okay, you might eat a little bit, or maybe it's a really good chicken cordon bleu. I don't know. Then you throw in a red-eye room, which maybe not be a term that's familiar to many around the country, but here in North Dakota, we have a red-eye room at your weddings, whereas you pretty much just make a whole bunch of homemade hooch that's going to make you feel like shit the next day.
Yeah, it's essentially
pound
sugar and Everclear.
Yeah, and you just, I want to try that flavor. I want to try that flavor. It's wide open. Anybody can come and go. We joked about when there's a red-eye room, when you're walking back to the wedding, you see a friend headed to the red-eye room, and you just do a complete 180. You're like, oh, you know what?
I'll show you where it is. Yeah. It's like they've clearly been there 5 times.
So yeah, that's my whole spiel on wedding food and dining during the wedding.
Talk about after or like the late night snack, which I've become a huge fan of when they do. They had pizza at this one, which was a great choice. It was really good pizza. At one wedding I went to, they had a nacho bar.
Ooh.
Good, but when people are shit-faced and carrying around nachos, there was nachos everywhere. Someone would grab a plate of nachos, like turn around, run into someone, nachos everywhere.
Yeah, one time one of my buddies spilled an entire thing of Power Play nachos all over my car after I picked him up from the Ralph Engelstad Arena, and that's what I'm picturing right now. It's just like you have that one cousin who, like, they need to eat. Like, they need to eat. And they're just waltzing along, and they go by the dance floor to get to their seat, and somebody spilled a fresh, vodka soda, and just sink. Nachos everywhere. She's like, oh my God, Feliz Navidad, what's going on here?
There was one wedding I was at, and one of the groomsmen, it was me, spilt an entire pitcher of beer on the dance floor. It wasn't me. This was at a different wedding. But spilt an entire pitcher of beer, and then people were dancing, and then when the song would, like, skip, all you'd hear is because it was so sticky on the dance floor.
Actually, one time I spilled a drink on the wedding dance floor, and somebody came up to me and was like, made me clean it up. I was like, okay. Sheesh. I was actually at a wedding dance this last weekend. We'll talk about that later, but me and you privately, not on the podcast.
Okay, fair.
And they had dinner earlier, and I couldn't remember if I RSVP'd or not. So I did the classic, like, I'll just show up later.
And your meal's just sitting there?
No. I don't think so. I was more of like a buffet, but they had a taco bar. Yeah. As time went, I had dinner, on my own, and then, or supper. There's a big dinner supper debate going on right now. Time went on, I started to get hungry. And I look over, and people are dishing up the leftover tacos, and it was like pulled pork. And I ended up crushing 2 just very poorly made tacos. It was like the meat, a little bit of greens, a little bit of cheese that's left, and, like, I don't know, some taco sauce. Crushed 2 of those bad boys. Then I noticed on the way to the restroom that there was cupcakes in the corner, and I said, wow, those look good for later. And sure as shit, I actually got out of a conversation that I really wanted to get out of, because I was like, you know what? I gotta hit up these cupcakes. Just, I don't want them to run out without me. And yeah, I love that. It was I wanted that more than drinks, which is rare.
Last thing I'll touch on with the wedding was I got the Lyft back, not Uber, for obvious reasons. I'm banned from Uber. And I got the Lyft, and I'm sitting in the back seat in the middle, and this Lyft driver had Jolly Ranchers in the cup holders on the side. Pro tip major, I had 1 Jolly Rancher and gave him the maximum amount of tip.
Maybe throw a little rouge on ya. Tuck your sack back. You game?
That is a pro move. That's a veteran move right there. Pro tip for the veterans out there.
I got 1 Jolly Rancher, which cost that guy 5 cents, and I gave him a $7 tip.
I mean, that's just capitalism in America and customer service at its absolute finest. So I'm just glad that you had a successful weekend. As great as it is when you come back with some pretty wild stories, I'm happy for you. Just taking a break from the rouge.
Yeah. I'm also so glad to be home, because that drive just sucks, especially when you do it hungover both ways.
Yeah, can't imagine. It's great. Matt did a great job of being on his best behavior after a comedy show. Isn't that the second time after a comedy show?
Literally every time. It's like, I have to go to work the next morning. And it's like...
The one day, wasn't that the second time, though, you had to travel the very next day after a comedy show?
I don't know how that keeps getting set up, but...
It's like your annual 9/11 flight.
You got to
do it.
Yeah, someone's got to do it. I'll fall on that grenade. I'll hit that plane.
Oh, God. So, yeah, over the weekend... I came out of my football coaching retirement. I got asked by the nephew if I would coach his 7-on-7 team, and I'm like, sure, sounds great. Next thing you know, it's like the day before the tournament. I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing? Like, do these kids know routes? Do they know plays? But yeah, I came out of the old coaching retirement. I was 1-0 before I got fired, of course. I've been fired from 2 volunteer jobs in my life. That was one of them. Volunteering my time and somehow managed to get canned.
Volunteer and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I volunteered myself to a different job where they paid me and spent my time not... Anyway. It was 7-on-7, so different format, not tackle, obviously. It wasn't even flag. It was just touch. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what these guys have practiced. I don't know what routes they know, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna wing it. And so the first game starts, really no clue what I'm doing, but just trying to figure it out as I go. And that game, we start out with a pick 6. I'm like, yes, like this is what we need. We need some breaks. Then we had a bit of a open field issue. Just like any time somebody got in the open field, it seemed like they scored a touchdown, the opposite team, which is pretty much defense. Anyway, we had scored 2 more touchdowns. It was our most competitive game. We lost 28-20. I'm like, all right, whatever, that's fine. Like, it was the first game. Who really cares? Then the second game rolls around. I'm like, okay, we have a little bit of experience under our belt, but it's so much handling 11-year-olds that you just pretty much met for the first. I knew a few of them from my nephew's friends from before, but didn't know half of them. And we have 9 total, so I have to constantly work 2 subs. I also have to tell them each individually what route to run every single play. And I also pretty much had to tell the quarterback, hey, look at this route. Like, he's going to be I hope he's open. So how does an 11-year-old do progressions? Like, how do you read through your progressions? You don't.
You throw it to one guy. Just do the flag football thing where it's like everyone go out there and just run and wave your hand open.
Well, anyway, the open field issues continued, and we lost game 2 40-0. At one point, like, of course, I have a dish of an anger issue. I have a bit of anger built up in me. I don't know. I can't help it. I'm working on it every day, but I have anger. Anger is a normal emotion. Anger is a normal feeling.
It's one of the 5 emotions.
Why can't I? Why is it? Why am I the asshole when I become angry? Okay, and like this team had run this play before where it was like you have to get 2 first downs. You're on a 40-yard field. Blah blah blah. Pretty much like 3rd and 1. And a play earlier in the game, they just did this whole like kid pretty much takes 2 steps, turns around, they throw it to him, automatic first down, fresh set of downs. So we get to the same situation later in the game, and I'm like, on defense, you can't be on the field. You have to like be on the sideline. I am screaming at these guys like, protect the line. I'm like, he's gonna just throw it short right up the middle. Like that. What I just said was a lot nicer and calmer.
And what they heard was everyone drop into coverage immediately.
They're going deep, Hail Mary, and no, they did the thing. And I could tell at this point I was pretty heated because they converted the first down, and I did a marker throw. I threw my marker on the ground. I was just like, oh, God, we're making a real ass of yourself today. You had all Friday and Saturday to do that, but no, come Sunday in front of a bunch of parents.
That was a long day, too. Like, was it like 6 hours?
So we lose that game, and at that point, I probably had been there for about like 4.5 hours, just warming up, kind of hanging out in between games. And I'm told, okay, like we lost out. There's not another game. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go home, and I'm like, it was a beautiful day in the sense of like it wasn't too hot out. There wasn't too much wind. It was like mid-70s, partly cloudy a little bit. Just a perfect day. So it wasn't like super just exhausting physically, but I was just tired. I'm like, cool. I'm going to go home and crush a nap. Then I get a phone call saying, oh yeah, they do have another game in like 2 hours. And I'm like already at home
Days of Thunder on.
Oh, my.
Nestled up to the couch.
Yeah, I've been taking a lot of recliner naps lately. It's awesome. And yeah, so I closed my eyes for as long as I could, but then I had to go back to the field. Final game of the day. Coming out. I'm out of retirement. I'm 0-2. I need to get back to 500. To make it 2-2 in my whole career. And let's just say the shitty teams played the shitty team. So we played a shitty team. I'm like, okay, we got a chance here. Needless to say, we lost 12-0. So we didn't score a single touchdown the last 2 games. And, a moment ago how I mentioned my anger. So there are just, these are all like new rules since it's 7-on-7. It's not traditional 11-on-11 tackle.
How do they line up? Is it just like...
You have to have like at least 2 guys on each side, and then you need a center, but then they use this little like stool thing that like, I don't know, you use when you don't need a center, but we needed a center. I don't know. The rules got a little iffy during game 3, as I found out. It's a 3rd down for us. I kind of drop a little play, trying to get everybody involved. That was the other thing. It was like, okay, if you get passes thrown to you and it gets broken up, or you drop them, or they just miss you, like, I can't help that. I'm trying to get everybody, like, the ball thrown to them. You know what I mean? And that was my big thing. It was like, I get it. Like, there's that whole like mentality nowadays of like winning doesn't matter. Everybody have fun. Everybody gets participation. I was like, this is a one-time tournament. This is only today. Like, I want to get everybody involved. It's hard, once again, when you're rotating people in and out. You can't constantly keep track. You're also calling the plays. You're also getting very angry with the refs because it was a 3rd down. My dude ended up catching it. He was short of the 1st down. However, the dude, like, tackled him, like, as he's catching the ball and coming down. And I'm like... I called all the refs Mr. Ref. Randy Moss, if you watch his YouTube. Yeah.
Mr. Official, can I speak to you?
I called him Mr. Ref. I'm like, Mr. Ref, like, throw the flag. Like, he tackled him. This is, like, it's pass interference. Like, pass interference isn't a new concept. And I was pretty upset because it was a turnover on downs. As I'm walking off the field to the sideline, because we had to go on defense, I'm like, why do you even have the flag if you're not going to use it? And I'm just heckling him. And I turn around and some parents are looking at me, and I'm like, well, I'm just trying to give you guys some entertainment for the day. Because it was 12. It was just a boring-ass game. Then...
The gift that keeps on giving.
Like, you were allowed to run. However, it was illegal and a penalty, or it should have been a penalty, if people are blocking downfield. Like, once somebody has the ball, the idea is you can't really block. It's supposed to be... very precise route running, quick stuff, just a quick game. And this fucking team runs the ball, and I see one of their dudes downfield blocking one of my guys.
Just throw your hat on
I'm on the sideline, and I didn't lose it, but I was pretty damn close. I'm like, I just said, he's blocking down the field. I'm like, it is in the rules. I read the rules. There's only a few rules. Call the fucking rules how they're supposed to be called. Like, yeah, and, he didn't like it very much. And, I mean, he was just some, like, dumb high school kid who was just like, whatever. Like, he's probably just trying to get a hand job from his girlfriend, like, all weekend. It didn't pan out, so he's probably in a really tough mood.
Some pent-up aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. We've all been there, but... I'm also out here with these kids all day long. They're here trying to have fun, trying to win, do their best, and the other team is just blatantly... and obviously they weren't cheating on purpose, I don't think, because even the other coach was like, yeah, sorry, these guys, they're used to 11-on-11 football. You can block all you want. Like, don't stop blocking until the whistle blows is what you're taught.
Let's just go back to that.
Yeah, and they were so dumb, and the other coach even agreed with me on the pass interference, but... I just thought it was classic me just getting like way too worked up about an 11-year-old game. But it's true. It's like, I don't want to, I've been here all day, man. Like, I'm not giving up my free time to get cheated is pretty much how it works. And I know it's a minor thing, but it's like, son of a, we're getting outscored 52-0 here, dude. Like,
dude, I get that with golf. I'm like, I think we have a real chance today, and we lose by like 45 strokes. And I'm driving home, and I'm just gripping the steering wheel. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, even on the ride home, I finally got to go back home and like relax for a little bit, and just like, don't let this ruin your day. Don't let this ruin your day. Like, let it go. It's sixth graders in a fucking touch tournament. Like, don't worry about it. But I was thanked by some parents for standing up for the kids, which I was really appreciated, because it was like, yeah, like, if you're a bad coach would sit around and not realize that the penalties are happening. You know what I mean? So
I'm just so angry, and it just pans to Jordan at a CVS doing the blood pressure machine to himself.
And just rip it off the wall. This thing doesn't work. This thing's dumb. What does this thing know?
You think just because you're digital, you know more than me?
Yeah, it was an interesting one.
Enough! Do you want my head to explode?
But you were talking about like, oh yeah, it's like you want them to have fun and get everyone involved. It's like at that point, you just talk to them beforehand and be like, does everyone just want to have fun, or do you want to win? And all of them raise their hand, they want to win. And then you're just like, you're never playing.
That was the other hard thing is like telling a kid that he's got to go to the bench. Like, it was like, dude, I don't think you're bad. I don't think like you're out of shape or anything. It's just like, we just need to rotate. Like, everybody's going to get their chance. But I just probably not made to have children.
Yeah. You know what? Let's hang up the coaching hat for a little bit.
That's the other thing. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you're gonna have kids someday. You're gonna make a great father. It's like, are you sure? How do you know? Did you see me at the 7-on-7 fucking touch tournament for sixth graders?
If that was a test, I failed.
Mr. Ref, why do you have the flag if you're not gonna throw it? Like, just I'm a 29-year-old. Just heckling a 15-year-old ref at a 7-on-7 tournament. Yeah, I'll make a great father, I'm sure.
There was one. So for one school year, I decided that I was going to ref soccer for some extra money. But turns out every soccer game is on the weekends, and I'm super hungover. And there was times where I forgot my whistle to the and I would have to borrow a whistle from someone.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely dipped it in the toilet water before handing it to you.
Oh, yeah, true. All right, a couple things went through my mind. I need your opinion on it. This is genuine Cleary's comments. It's what I'm thinking, and I need a reaction. Dick move or genius?
Okay.
Anne Frank's dad selling her diary for a profit.
Her diary? Okay, I thought you said something else.
Her diarrhea.
Yeah, I think we've been hanging out with a certain comedian way too often. Her dad selling her diary for profit. See? Somebody once upon a time told him, you're going to make a great father. And he probably knew deep down he wasn't going to, but he didn't listen to his impulses.
One thing led to another.
I'm going to say dick move.
Sometimes when I puke, I shit.
Here's how I think his thought process went, where he's doing like a pros and cons list of, I got this old shitty diary. What am I going to do with it? He's like, on one hand, it's her personal life. On the other hand, scared money don't make money, sells the diary.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It's the ultimate capitalistic move to make money off of anything. I mean, I want everybody to drink responsibly and have fun, but without overconsumption, America and Budweiser and all these liquor companies would not be anywhere near where they are today.
This one is also company driven. A Tesla owner used a gas generator to charge his Tesla on a road trip so he didn't have to stop at charging station. Genius or dumbass?
I would maybe even lean towards genius, because isn't figuring out how to properly like hook up a Tesla charger to a gas generator, or do they just sell them?
I'm sure they sell like converters of some sort, but at the same time, why are you getting a Tesla if that's what you're going to do? Teslas have it figured out that they can literally, they map out your stops for you.
Maybe that's why he enjoys the convenience of.
He just turns on "Life is a Highway" and then just
So it's
flies.
good third time around. I think maybe he just enjoys the convenience that a Tesla. Jesus Christ! First it's a phone call. Now this computer apparently has every update to fucking offer. Remember when I said I had anger issues?
I can't wait to clip that up and be like, you know what? I'm getting better with my anger. Just being, what the fuck?
I'm working on it every day. It's a daily battle. It doesn't just go away all of a sudden.
I'm only human.
After all, I would say he just enjoys the convenience of what a Tesla has to offer with the amenities.
Where you basically don't have to drive. You just have to
essentially
duct tape your hands to the steering wheel and you can
pretty much
get
what
there.
I'm getting at. And maybe the display screen that it has in there, that's nice to dink around
Just
with.
watching Netflix. And
Pretty much. But he just also, just the whole the fueling of it, whether it's a battery or gasoline, depending on or whatever, he doesn't agree with that. I would say that's okay.
Oh, man.
I mean, freedom to do whatever you like. Like if I want to yell at an update on my computer, why can't I be angry?
Yeah, well, if I had my gong, I would go dumbass and ring the bell.
Yeah, need to get you your gong back. Any more dick moves or geniuses?
No.
Okay. I learned of a Jock Tax recently. Do you know what a Jock Tax is?
Special tax for when you buy jocks.
That's initially what I was thinking. However, I saw like a breakdown of like random athletes' salaries, like Jimmy Butler. I don't know, just pretty much name anybody. I've seen all these breakdowns of their salary, and depending on where they're playing, obviously in like a Florida or what's another state that doesn't
Arizona,
something like that. Whatever states that don't have any sort of state income tax, but everybody has a jock tax. I'm like, what the fuck's a jock tax? So I looked it up. A jock tax is a tax on income that's applied to individuals who earn money outside of their home state or city. So this makes sense for athletes all the time, because when you play your away games, you're still getting paid from your organization, but you're doing your work in a different state. I mean, you're bringing fans in, selling jerseys, but you're located in a different state. And I found out this actually was an idea for taxes back in the 1960s, but it didn't begin to pick up steam until the early 90s, because in 1991, the state of California made a state income taxes against Michael Jordan and his teammates following the Bulls championship run against the Lakers in LA. Then this prompted Illinois to do the same thing, that they'll apply a jock tax to athletes playing on a state if they come from a state that has similar laws. And then it must have just been all sorts of, just all downhill from there, and everybody else pretty much got on board. So can we just say thanks, California, for forcing more taxes because you're upset you lost in 1991?
Yeah, color me surprised that a tax started in California.
So yeah, that's the jock tax for you, Matt. And I never knew what it was. I figured, as I consider myself a savvy sports fan. Didn't even know what the jock tax was. Did you even know what it was?
I didn't know it existed, but that's stupid as shit.
Yes, Florida or Nevada don't have state income tax. So those are your examples. Other states like Florida, Washington, and D.C. don't assess the jock tax against visiting sports teams or their athletes.
North Dakota doesn't have it because we don't have any sports teams.
Pretty much. I mean, it could be even like a semi-professional athlete, because you're always traveling around, playing in other cities and states. Sounds like a nightmare to calculate, but I just wanted to inform you on the jock tax, and I think you already gave me your thoughts on it. Thanks, California, for come on. Why do we got to do this?
Yeah.
Why do we have to start this? Do we not have enough taxes?
By the same logic, someone that's playing like a very low level of like indoor football, if they get the jock tax and it's like 5% of their $150 a week salary. It's a little bit bigger of cut than someone making $150 million.
Couldn't agree more. And I got to say thank you to my sources, Smart Asset. So article is written in September 14th, 2022. So that's my educational bit for the day. Wasn't really here to crack a joke there.
Yeah. This isn't educational at all. It's more of a me being angry at the world. Why do they offer free internet, but then also internet or super internet at hotels that you have to pay for?
You blew it!
What could you possibly be doing at the hotel for you to require super internet? I've done just about everything at a hotel using the internet. Never had to pay for super internet.
At that point, your phone is the free internet definitely doesn't work. And your phone is probably just sucking up the unlimited data that you paid for in the first place. And since you're in like a city or an area with decent coverage and reception, at that point your phone's probably just, if you're filling the spank bank, so to speak, if that's what you're referring to.
No, I was saying that I've literally like worked from a hotel room and been on like Zoom calls and also had like a bunch of other stuff going and Pornhub, but
okay. I was about to say, I was definitely thinking of the hanky panky when you started talking about that. Regardless, the free Wi-Fi doesn't work, and it's just a nickel and dime. It's a California passing a Jock Tax move. It's low hanging fruit. It's shallow, and it's greedy.
Well, and I was thinking about this as I was like at the hotel, like looking like that's so stupid, and then yesterday I was kind of taking a nap and I threw on the movie The Dictator, and right before I fell asleep, he goes into his hotel room in New York and he reads this card. It's like $20 a day for Wi-Fi, and I'm the dictator. It's like, yeah, I guess that's what you get for living in America. You pay daily for Wi-Fi.
The free internet does not work.
No.
I don't know if I mentioned that. Don't fall for it. Matter of fact, your security and your privacy may be even more at risk when you do, I'll hop on the free Wi-Fi.
I've also never paid for Wi-Fi on an airplane. I know people said they've literally never flown without buying the Wi-Fi. I've never bought it.
We have such shitty, cheap flights out of North Dakota that it's not even an option, I feel, on like any flight I ever take.
We offer Wi-Fi. It has... they just have a sticker that says we offer Wi-Fi. There's no actually Wi-Fi you can hook up to. It's just...
Yeah, I guess my whole thing is like, if I'm going to fly for a couple hours at a time, at that point, I'm just going to download something. I'm going to get some music, crush a nap. I saw a really good sign the other day. It's like, those guys, that picture of the guy with a piece of cardboard and he's got the sunglasses on and then everybody changes what it says. I saw a really good one the other day that says, "You're not going to read that book that you brought on vacation." And it's just like, oh my God, that's me. I'm always like, I'm going to bring a book, like, just in case I get, like, so fucking bored that I would read. And
now I'm down a book because I left it at the hotel.
That, or like, I think one of my last flights I was on, I did read for about 10 minutes and then just got so tired I just like zonked out for the rest of the flight. So
wake up with a puddle of drool on your book.
It's really just like a really big like sleeping medication. Like you take a teeny tiny little sleeping pill, you pass out, you're tired. A book's essentially the same thing, a little more natural though, and a little bit better, probably for the old system.
Yeah, I used to try crossword puzzles, but that kind of ended up bad because I'd fall asleep with a pen in my hand, and the pen would get all over my sheets, along with semen.
Got to watch out for it. Matt, would you say you got drunk at your wedding that you went to?
Let's say I got pretty buzzed.
Okay, you got pretty buzzed. Well, I really didn't have too bad of a hangover this past weekend. Well, okay.
I literally
the day after the day after the show, I drank responsibly. I didn't drive, and essentially I was getting a ride, and my ride like broke down. And it wasn't like an Uber, it was somebody I knew, and I felt compelled to help them. So I literally spent the whole next day, not the whole, but about 3-4 hours helping this person like repair their vehicle because I felt bad 'cause they came to get me and then it broke down. Poor timing, but that was rough. Okay, I was pretty hungry.
Yeah, your exact text was, I was like, hey, do you have that $100? And you said, no, I bought drinks with it. I'm so hungover.
It could have been anybody. It could have been anybody.
He's got documentation.
Somebody stole my phone for sure. But as the weekend went on, like my whole point is I didn't continue to like get fucking wasted and be hungover. I was pretty just tired after it. It's so mentally exhausting. Like I think people don't understand that too much if they don't do things that are super mentally exhausting, like preparing for a show, going on stage, rattling it off perfectly. You know, you got to greet people, you got to talk to people, you got to coordinate between people. It's a lot. So I was just so tired after that. But all of a sudden, on like, I believe it was on like a Sunday, I was just hanging out and I was just like, you know what? Like, what could I do to prevent such gnarly hangovers? And so I did the classic, just like Googled like how to combat a hangover. And it was just a classic situation where you're just basically going over the same shit you've heard before. So that's what I'm going to rattle off. And it's best also to not drink on an empty stomach. So I know that's hard when me and you hit the old happy hour on like a Friday immediately after work. But we did start ordering the queso and chips.
I didn't eat any of that last time, though.
Well, that's your fault then.
I did have those pizza bites, or the pretzel bites. Those are pretty good.
So you got to drink, you got to fill up before you're going out, Matt, okay? This nutritionist that I was reading about suggests chowing down on foods like red meat, chicken, shellfish, avocados, mushrooms, whole grains, because those are rich in zinc and, I don't know, some type of acid.
Amino acid?
No. Nicotinic?
Nicotine.
Yeah, nicotinic
so
acid.
red meat has nicotine in it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Also suggests hitting the gym, which makes sense because before you start drinking, because usually you're trying to let loose and blow off some steam. When you hit the gym, it's likely that you'll blow off less steam and have a less chance of going too far. I don't think that's going to apply to us.
Does it just mean you're going to be tired, so you're not going to stay out as late?
I think so.
Anything is possible when you do a bunch of uppers, though, so...
Speak for yourself. Uppers, downers, and in-betweeners. Mix in a water or a mocktail.
No.
Okay. I tried this, a couple of times where it was just like, okay, it doesn't matter if I just if I just chug it down right away. In between every one of my drinks, I had to order a water, and I peed a lot.
Yeah.
At one point of the night, I just had them start bringing my beers to the bathroom, and I was just like hanging out, and I would have several fantastic conversations. You meet a lot of people in the pisser, but mixing in a water or a mocktail, you're supposed to match 1-to-1 with alcoholic drinks. It's tough. It's hard to remember. This one's funny. Keep track of how many drinks you've had. It reminds me of like the days in college or perhaps even high school when you would make marks like on your hand, and then everybody would be comparing notes, and then there's that one person who definitely just went and made like 12
I had
marks.
47 drinks. It's like, you drove home last night.
They're saying to have a drink calculator downloaded on your phone. Also pretty laughable.
I would just forget to do it,
Pretty much.
even when I'm sober.
Order beer, wine, or mixed drinks, not shots. Obviously, it's the low alcohol by volume percentage. I mean, that's just obvious. You drink stuff with higher alcohol percentage, and I think our problem is we're always trying to get drunk. Like, that's the whole idea. Is it bad? I've thought of this a lot. I don't think I've ever said this on the show before, but is it bad if I always want to keep my drinking in check so I can continue to drink? Is that a bad thing?
That's essentially what I do.
Okay.
I'm hungover for 3 days, and then I drink again.
Yeah, and I never ever wanted to get to a point where I'm like out of hand, and I feel like I've been very drunk before. I mean, a lot of people have, but I've always been able to like still be conscious of like what I'm doing. I can only think of maybe a handful of times where I was just like an absolute wreck and it was hard to stand. Noodle legs.
Yeah.
And like somebody kind of had to take care of me / help me. I mean, and that's a low percent. That's like a percent of times I've went out and had a good time.
It hasn't happened to me in like 2 or 3 years, but back in my heyday, it was every weekend. It would be like, where's Matt? He's asleep in the kitchen. Let him be.
Or like when me and you went to the lake cabin and we both got a case of the noodle legs and a misdirection on the way home. But we still made it home, and I still was able to crawl in bed before we started puking.
The next morning, I wake up to your sister just puked outside, and I was like, "Fuck, was that me?"
That was my bad. You're supposed to mix in some Gatorade or some sort of coconut water, something with electrolytes. I mean, that's just obvious. You're also not supposed to smoke. Skip the smokes. Here's probably one of the better ones. Stick with clear liquor. Clear liquor like vodka or gin have fewer, once again, another word I don't know, congeners, which are compounds that have been linked to hangovers like dark whiskey and rum.
I don't know. There's been times where I've only drank vodka and I've been very hungover.
They also tell you to wash your hands a lot and dance your ass off, and the whole dance your ass off thing is just so you're like occupied doing something else besides drinking. You can overdo it on the water.
Bring a deck of cards to the bar and play solitaire. That way you won't drink
during
as
the
much.
solitaire.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wear a sleeping mask because it throws off your sleeping schedule.
At the bar?
You just get in your car to drive home. All right, let's give this a whirl.
I watched Bird Box last week.
This Cosmopolitan article told me to put on a sleeping mask. Yeah, and you're supposed to just eat well. Chug Pedialyte the next day. Get breakfast in you. And apparently, I never thought that actually taking like two like Advil or two like whatever you want to call it, whatever your pill of choice is, before bed with some water, I thought that it would just damage your body more.
That's what I thought too.
So I never do that. And they say forget the whole hair of the dog that bit you thing, because it is true. It just prolongs your hangover. But what I will say in my experience is all hangovers are different. Not all hangovers are created the same and or equal.
Yep.
Some hangovers are discriminated against. Some hangovers are at a higher level than others.
Yeah, it's the longer you drink. Like if I have a golf tournament and I keep drinking, I will be way more hungover. But if I sit down and I have 7 beers in 55 minutes and then I'm done drinking, minimal hangover.
But I also think it like has to do with it's a mental thing too. Put yourself in the shoes of when you're on vacation. Like during your vacation time, yeah, you can be feeling a little slow and sluggish, but like like, oh, I don't have anything really responsible to do today. So I think it's more of a mental thing, or just like that whole I feel like you could almost wake up still drunk, but not like when you wake up still drunk, you're like, holy fuck, I'm still drunk,
I'm fully clothed.
Yeah, holy fuck, I'm still just puke all over yourself. But like still just like, I don't know, still buzzed. And this going to contradict the hair of the dog thing, but it's like, have you ever just woken up just feeling good after a night of drinking? Yep. And you're like, okay, I didn't really sleep a whole lot. Like I'm a little dehydrated, but like I'm feeling good. And then it's like, oh, let's go grab lunch drinks, or let's go on the water, or let's go do this or that. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. And you keep drinking. Like that's just, I feel like that's all a mental thing where it's just, or maybe like your body has combated it so much, not like in experience wise, but it combated that particular hangover to that point where maybe you're just feeling good.
I mean, it's like you said, they're all created differently. Like I've had times where like I'll roll into the next day feeling good, active, doing stuff, and then I'll keep that going for like multiple days. Like if we're doing something like volunteering and getting fired,
Dude, seriously?
and yeah, I got fired with you on that one too, so we're good.
Oh yeah, we got fired together. Nice.
Those who get fired together stay together, unless they fire each other.
Well, it's true. I'm sorry. If you finish up, then I'll pop in.
I had no idea where I was going with that. So whatever you have.
Well, we can pretty much wrap up the hangover talk, and I guess I'll save it for the end. We still have one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, the biggest staple of the show lately.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace.
See if I sent you anything.
I only have a couple this week, and one of them, I didn't take a screenshot of it or anything, but people that are trying to sell used undergarments, whether it's bras, underwear,
It's tough.
just don't. Or anyone that sells anything for $5 or less, please just throw it away or donate it. You don't need someone coming to your house, and you don't need to deliver it for $5.
I did see one real quick. It was said a bunch of children's clothes, but then it was just 2 garbage bags full of children's clothes, and it was just like, do you just want me to guess what's in there?
Yeah. People are so stupid. And like this one guy was like, he was selling something for literally $10, and he's like, will deliver to Bismarck or Dickinson, because he was somewhere in between. I'm like, are you shitting me? You're going to spend the gas and the time to drive it to one location.
I'm going to stop you right there. That's a red flag. That person is trying to murder you. I will drive to you to sell you a $10 item. If you're dumb enough to fall for it, I'm going to throw you in the back of my van and wear your skin later. Yeah, the green room at the comedy show, by the way, had some serious Silence of the Lambs vibes. It wasn't too creepy. It was just, there were so many little hallways and like nooks and crannies, and it was kind of like unfinished and undone just because it's like a backstage. Who cares?
And there was a mouse running around.
I never saw the mouse, so maybe you were just high on shrooms or something. But
Yeah, I went into the bathroom too close to David being in there and get a little contact. Hee-hawed.
Well, hee-hawed and do-si-do tends to happen on the show. But yeah, Hannibal Lecter vibes.
Yep. The one I took a screenshot of was a nice lady named Jesselyn saying, I'm looking for a cheap tent, but needed an air mattress for really, really cheap. Please let me know if you have one. We are not picky. And then she put a screenshot of Google. She typed in tents, and there's tents for $80 and $125, which I'm assuming you can find cheaper tents that are brand new than that on Amazon.
I mean, me, for example, I've pitched my tent for as low as $25 before.
And if you're looking for a really cheap tent, here's just a wild idea. Order it online. You're probably spending less than $50.
I just love the people who like post on there that they're looking for something. Very clearly, the idea is you either post something that you're selling, and then you can be a buyer in the market. But I'm so goddamn lazy. I can't go to Walmart. I can't order off Amazon. I can't even order from Walmart. Walmart will literally, Target, Walmart, whatever. We don't shop at Walmart anymore on this podcast. They'll literally bring it out to you if you park in a certain spot and pay.
Yeah, I'm never going to do that.
I don't go. I pledge my allegiance to not Walmart.
I pledge my allegiance to anywhere but Walmart. But the real kicker of this, I went back to find it to take a screenshot of it. And this kind young lady says, in parentheses, after her first sentence of looking for a cheap tent, found one, exclamation point. You went through the rigmarole of editing your post instead of just deleting it.
I don't know. It'll never beat the third row seat out of a 1996 Chevrolet Suburban, but
we should see if that's still available and buy it.
Yes.
Or follow up, if it did sell, see who bought it and go beat the shit out of them.
No, and if it didn't sell, me and you will go back and forth from our several accounts. Wink, wink. And
Get in a bidding war?
no, not with each other. A bidding war to see who can, like, we'll start at $1. Like, see how low he'll go. We sent this one. I don't know who sent it to who, but it's on our text messages. A 55-gallon fish tank, and the caption is, "My 7-year-old fish died only 6 months after I bought him a new tank and filters."
I sent that to you.
R.I.P. in peace to the 7-year-old fish. Just a depressed post.
Dude, it's not, like, I'm sorry, but if you get that attached to fish, my brother literally had fish and wanted to get rid of his fish tank, so he just put his fish outside in a bucket until they died.
Interesting. It's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, but let's get the hell out of here. Make sure to follow us on social media at NBNH Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Episode 159 coming up next week.
Yeah, we'll do 158, 159, 160 over the next 3 weeks. And then we are taking the 4th of July week off because, well, I don't think anybody really gives a shit at that point. So just want to give you a heads up that we are taking that week off. So we got a few more episodes coming up until then. And Matt, like you said, those who get fired from volunteer jobs together, stay together. It'll be a 1 year since we started stand-up comedy. So stand-up comedy 4. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And we're going to start planning the next one. So stick with us.
It's a brand new day, and now I feel right. It's a brand new day, and now I see the light. It's a brand new thing, brand new burgers, brand new wings. Think I went to church. It's a brand new day, I still got rhythm. It's a brand new day, shouting out, ooh, kill 'em.
This is a freestyle off the top of the dome. Here we go. And I do it again, 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 again. I do it only once. Again, 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 again. I do it only once. I go down that river slow to the place I shoot like Carmelo. I'm living my life and we go hard, floating on the river in a party barge. And I see you on a sea-doo. Your shirt was white and it was see-through. Please use your spray, no mosquitoes. Every time you found me, it's a free throw. Hey girl, why you calling me? I said, oh please don't bother me. I'm so sick of apologies. That's so damn appalling to me. But last night was the best night that I have ever lived. Then I woke up all choked up and realized it was a fib.